beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Whose bells will start, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Christmas, 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 Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks for joining us on our special King of the West Tonight holiday program from the frozen tundra of Rio Vista.
Gary, I've got the scarf. I'm going to see Grandma. I got the grandma tie on.
I forgot my tie.
You forgot your tie, I see. Okay. But, yeah, it's going to be a great show tonight. I think we've got some special guests that a lot of people probably don't even know about track chasing.
Right.
But we have the world champion, a record holder, track chaser in the world, not just the United States.
Pretty amazing. Randy Lewis, of course, is from San Clemente, California.
It's a lot warmer than
it is here. But this guy's been almost everywhere. You check out his website. We're going to link later on in the program. But this guy's been to like 1,800 different countries and tracks, and it's amazing. He's going to be a great interview.
Also on tap tonight, we have the reigning Rookie of the Year from Sacramento, California, Chad Compton. We're going to be live in the studio.
Yeah, Chad, a great guy. We're going to kind of introduce him to everyone. It's been a little while since we've had an in-studio guest, but we're definitely glad to have Chad make the drive down to Rio Vista and try to get more of his racing background, kind of his family lifestyle. It's really one of the family-run teams with King of the West.
Yeah, great family, great dad. Him and his dad raced together as a team, and look forward to that interview.
As a special Christmas present to all of our viewers out here, we're going to unveil the first 3 weekends of action for the King of the West Sprint Car Series a little later tonight, so definitely going to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we were at the Promoters Workshop. We're going to talk a little bit about that and trying to finalize the schedule, and we'll give you the first 3 races a little bit later in the show, and then hopefully by tomorrow we'll have the whole schedule out on the internet.
Stay tuned to KWSsprints.com, and of course tonight's show is presented by Hoosier Racing Tires, a company that we're really excited to join in 2013, George, and something else we wanted to do was make sure that all of California was on a consistent compound, and we've done that.
Yeah, we met with Hoosier Tires at the Promoters Workshop, had a great meeting with them, and talked about the tire compounds, what they have, and what they can do for our racers. And I'm so excited that everybody in the state of California is on the same tire.
Going to be exciting. The car counts are going to go up, and you're going to see some of the best action you've seen in 410 sprint car racing, probably since NARC.
Since the Northern Auto Racing Club, for you fans that don't know what NARC is, other than the people that go out and catch drug people. Yeah.
I was a little kid back then with NARC. So.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, George, but I'm ready to go inside and check out that Randy Lewis interview.
It is my pleasure to have on the phone from Southern California a gentleman that I met at the Turkey Night Grand Prix this year, and kind of sat together and got to realize that he is the world's #1 track chaser. And Randy Lewis, welcome to KWS Tonight.
Thank you very much. It's great to talk to you guys.
Hey, I didn't know that much about track chasers until we sat down at Turkey Night and talked and realized how much of an organized group this is. It's not just somebody out doing something because he wants to. It's not you've got rules and regulations and things you have to do to verify where you've been and what you're doing.
Yeah, it sort of started out as a bunch of individuals just doing their own thing, traveling around more and more tracks. And then once the internet became available and different racing papers caught on to this, we sort of discovered that other people were doing this, and a group back mainly in the East Coast came up with a set of rules and regulations on what counts and what doesn't count. And after that was done, everybody kind of had to readjust their list because maybe they were counting drag strips, and drag strips don't count in track chasing and so forth. And so everyone kind of came together on a common group of rules, and everyone who's interested in track chasing and comparing their results to somebody else's kind of goes with that, with the rules that the track chasing group established in the late 90s.
Wow, so it's been going on that long. Well, I guess you have to with the number of races you've been to. It takes a little while to get up to this number. We'll let everybody know what that is a little bit later. But co-host Gary Thomas has got a question.
Now, when did you decide to become a race chaser? I guess the big question is why?
Well, I'm going to draw a distinction between the term race chaser and track chaser.
Right.
I classify a race chaser as somebody who goes to the racetracks for the very best racing, and they're going to pick out the World 100 or the sprint car, National Sprint Championships in Knoxville, that kind of stuff. Track chasers, they are a little bit different. They're not quite as interested in the quality of the racing. They would love to see a great race, but they're really more interested in going to a track for the very first time. And then once they go to that track, probably 9 times out of 10, they will never return to that particular track.
Oh.
Now, I've been to Ascot 100 times, and places like Eldora 40 or 50 times, and Rockford Speedway 50 times, but the little places out in the middle of nowhere, those are the tracks I'll probably go to one time and maybe never come back.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of your stats here. In 2004, you broke the track chasing record by visiting 127 new tracks, and then followed up in 2005 by visiting 182 tracks. How much time and energy does that take just in the planning stages? I mean, this is something you can't decide on Thursday night. I'm going to the races on Friday.
You know, I think the planning part of this thing is the most fun, because a lot of the tracks I go to race only one time a year. In track chasing, we count racing on ovals, road courses, and figure eights. We don't count motorcycles, boats, planes, drag strips, demolition derbies, those kinds of things. So we have those are sort of the basic rules. And so there are a number of county fairs back in the Midwest and the East. These guys might race once a year, and maybe it's on a Wednesday night in Ohio, and then it's on a Monday night in West Virginia. And so you kind of have to figure out, how am I going to get from point A to B to C? And then also manage the weather so that you don't get rained out all that often, because it does rain a lot back in those parts. And sometimes at a particular track, they'll have a large oval and a small oval, and that's can be counted as 2 tracks. So that's how I got to see 182 tracks in 1 year.
Well, let's get down to it now. Just how many tracks and countries have you actually been to in your track chasing career?
Well, I asked somebody the other day who I was talking to about this. I said, I do a lot of this track chasing, and we talked a little bit about it. And I said, you know, and he was a race fan. I said, well, how many tracks do you think would be a lot if somebody went to a lot of tracks? He thought for a minute. He goes, I think maybe 300. If you went to 300 tracks, you would have seen a lot of tracks. Well, on Sunday I saw my 1,813th different racetracks. And in the past few years, I've been kind of concentrating on trying to see racing in different countries. And about a month ago, I was in Greece, and that was my 63rd different country to see racing in.
That's just amazing. I mean, what's your next closest competitor in numbers?
There's a fellow out in Pennsylvania. He's got about 1,450 tracks, so he's a little bit behind right now.
A little bit behind. That might take him a couple of 2 or 3 years just to catch up if you don't do anymore.
I sure hope so.
Now, if you could pinpoint your most memorable trip, what would it be?
As I look back on the 1,800 tracks I've been to, I honestly cannot think of a single place that I visited that I didn't have a good time. I might not want to go back anytime soon, but to go there for the one time that I did, I had a great time while I was there.
Well, to follow that up, is there any trip that you were ever on where you thought you should have just stayed home?
Well, a few years ago, I went out to Pennsylvania, and they had a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night tri-track championship. They're going to be at a different place every night. They're going to have late model stock cars and sprint cars racing at each track. And from the time I landed until the time I left, it never stopped raining. So I got rained out all 3 nights, and this was a long time ago. But that was a pretty disappointing trip since I didn't get a chance to see anything. But this year in 2012 has been a little bit different. It's been the first time in my entire track chasing career, I saw 89 different tracks this year, that I didn't get rained out a single time.
And as I have to add, one of the things is, you know, you do a blog, you do your YouTube, you do photos. I mean, you really do a story about every one of your trips as well.
You know, I do. I've got a website. It's called randylewis.org, and probably a simpler way to find that if you're interested is just to do a Google search on the World One Track Chaser. But what I've gotten myself into, and it takes a little bit more time sometimes than I think I have, but I still want to do it, is I want to provide information about these places I visit and the tracks I see for people who may never get there. I mean, you might be a racing fan in New York and you'd love to see or get a little more information about something that's happening in New Mexico, you're probably not going to go from New York to New Mexico to see some little short track race. But if you can go on YouTube or read a story about what they do down there, that might be kind of entertaining. And so that's really why I do all of that.
Well, they're telling us that we've got to start wrapping this up. So I want to thank you for being a part of the show, and tell people how they can follow you on your website and your blog, whatever you've got there. I know you've got a lot of information you can share with folks.
Yeah, like I say, it's randylewis.org is the website. If that's hard to write down, just do a Google search on the world's #1 track chaser. On my YouTube channel, that's called Ranlay, R-A-N-L-A-Y. I've got more than 500 YouTube videos out there, and people seem to enjoy those. And they can also look on my website to give me a contact if they want to ever discuss anything, get some information or whatever. I get a lot of emails from folks and really enjoy those. And track chasing is a lot of fun. It's not just about racing. It's about travel and seeing things and doing things that are just a little bit outside of your local neighborhood, if you will. And it's a real fun hobby, and I enjoy doing it a lot.
Randy, thanks again, and hope to talk to you real soon.
Sounds good, George. Thank you very much.
Take a look at the 5 and 10, glistening once again, with candy canes and silver lanes aglow.
We're all really excited to welcome Hoosier Racing Tires into the King of the West family for 2013. Definitely looking forward to working with Rick Gerhardt, Robert Perryman, and the whole gang over at Hoosier Tires West. Having everyone in California back on the same tire compound with the same tire company, looking for bigger car counts and much of the same exciting racing we've come to love over the last number of seasons. Hoosier has grown to be one of the largest employers in Plymouth, Indiana, and produces over 1,000 different types of race tires. The company has its own 300-mile-per-hour test wheel, a technology center, state-of-the-art fully integrated production facilities, and a model sales and distribution network in Lakeville, Indiana, which others seek to emulate. The pride that exists among those associated with the Hoosier family continues to be the focal point of the success that the company has enjoyed over the years. Bob and Joyce, as well as others involved in the racing industry, marvel at the success and growth of the original business they started over 50 years ago. The philosophy has been, and will continue to be, the secret behind Hoosier's success in building tires designed for champions. And now a message from the late, great Bob Newton.
Hoosier Racing Tire is proud to be a part of the tremendous growth in popularity of racing. We started out with one goal, and over the years, it hasn't changed. We are focused on producing the best performing race tires in the world. Truly, tires designed for champions. Our key to success has been to build the best team, use the best technology, and work as closely as possible with the racing teams who are using our products. We work hard every day to provide the safest and most dependable race tires on the market. We have the only factories in the world devoted exclusively to the design and manufacture of race tires. We are excited about what we have been able to accomplish so far and look forward to what is to come in our future. I would like to thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to our American success story. In addition, I would like to personally wish you success in your motorsport adventure.
Well, everyone, we're now inside the cozy confines of the King of the West office, right by this beautiful fireplace. And
Well, thank Brandon for the heat.
yeah, beautiful heat in here, it really is.
Get us out of the cold.
But you just saw a great interview with Randy Lewis, the world's #1 track chaser. Really interesting story, George. I know you met him at Turkey Night down in Paris, and really an honor to have him on the line.
Over 1,800 different tracks.
Amazing.
In 5 years, he said?
Something like that,
I mean,
yeah.
it's amazing. At 1.2
Right.
million miles traveled.
Right.
I mean, you talk about frequent flyer, frequent car rental. This guy's got it all.
Check out his website, read the stories, view the photos, because it's absolutely incredible. And I can't even fathom going to that. We think we go to a lot of races, and this guy's just absolutely amazing.
And we may have him on again because we just hit the tip of the iceberg of some of Randy's stories. I mean, we talked we talked every time there was a break at the turkey night. It was a new story, another new experience, and I think you'll enjoy Randy Lewis, and you'll really enjoy his website. I think he's got like 500 YouTube, so you can watch YouTube between now and the next time we have him on.
Yeah, since we don't have a lot of racing, you can check out all those great videos.
That's absolutely
Hey, next up, we got another great interview, if I do say so myself.
Chad Compton, Rookie of the Year.
Well, everyone, we're joined in studio tonight by the driver that finished 10th in last season's King of the West Series standings. He also wrapped up the Rookie of the Year award by season's end, and we definitely want to thank him for making the drive down from Fair Oaks tonight. Mr. Chad Compton. Chad, thanks for joining us on King of the West tonight.
You betcha. Thank you for having me.
Hey, you know, we got Christmas coming up, so you got your Christmas shopping done and everything?
Nope.
Nothing yet?
I don't even know if I even started yet.
I think we're in the same boat. I bought a GPS machine for my parents, but that's about it.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
You know, I guess first off tonight, kind of fill the fans in when you begin your racing career and what type of class was it in?
We go back to year 2000. We got into the BCRA Midget Lights 1200cc motorcycle engine class. And we did that for 6 years. Our last year, we finished second in points. That was a pretty big deal. And then we jumped into a 360 sprint car and ran a lot of the Placerville local stuff and Civil War. And this year we just hopped into a 410.
All right, and you mentioned you started out in a midget light. You know, what are the differences between driving a midget light and, I guess, say, a King of the West 410 sprint car?
Well, obviously, you know, the huge power difference going from a 1200 cc's to 410 cubic inches and a thirsty methanol-driven V8. You know, and then there's the size of the vehicle. That was, you know, that wasn't too bad to adjust to.
Right.
All in all, you know, we adapted pretty quick.
Right, and you know, you talk about the King of the West Series, and we've seen a lot of new blood over the last few years. When you guys decided to race with KWS, what was kind of that deciding factor to join us last year?
Well, you know, we'd heard about it from the year before, and we thought it was a really good deal. You know, my dad and I, we talked about it. We just wanted a change, and we talked to Ricky, and we told him, you know, we're going to run our 360 with you guys, and he said, well, hang on a minute. I got an idea. Let me call you back. Well, we ended up purchasing a 410, and the thing runs well.
What kind of things did you do last year differently to prepare for a full-time, I guess, King of the West season, since you guys primarily ran the 360s over the last handful of years?
You know, we kind of kept it the same. You know, every year the car gets torn down, the motor gets sent back. Well, we didn't have to do that. We just purchased a motor and just really go through everything and get the trailer ready. We kind of kept it easy.
Kept it pretty easy. How many hours do you put each week during the racing season into the car? You know, it seems like a lot of guys, that's almost like a full-time job in itself.
It can be, you know, and it depends what happens the weekend before. You know, it can be 20 hours, it could be 10 hours, it could be 40 hours.
So it can be a mixed bag.
Yeah, and those weeks, you know, it's obviously a bad weekend.
Well, I'm sure the weekends that go good are the ones where you do good and don't bend anything up.
Yeah, we were pretty good about that this year. We didn't really tear up too much at all.
That didn't seem like it. It seemed like it was a pretty consistent year for you.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're going to take a break now and come back with much more with Chad Compton after we hear from one of our great marketing partners.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store.
What your engine feels, you feel. And when it's running clean, you feel it. Which is why we developed Pennzoil Platinum with adaptive molecules. Its active cleansing agents help remove built-up dirt and deposits 3 times better than the leading conventional oil. Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic Motor Oil. Our ultimate clean for your ultimate feeling. Not just oil, Pennzoil.
Well, hey everyone, we're back with Chad Compton out of Fair Oaks, California. And Chad, in 2012 on the stat sheet with the King of the West Series, you competed in all but one event. I believe you unfortunately missed the Oregon race, but you tallied a trio of top 10 finishes. You had some tough luck at certain points with motor issues and, you know, different on-track stuff like everyone seems to go through. But you guys persevered, and at the end of the year, as we mentioned, you won the Rookie of the Year award. So I'm sure that was a pretty good feather in your cap.
That it was. You know, we kept that as our goal all year long, was to try and finish 10th in points, or inside the top 10 or 10th, and get the Rookie of the Year. You know, a few times it looked like it was getting out of sight,
right?
Due to some bad luck and whatnot, but overall, you know, we accomplished our goal.
Right.
It was great.
Right. And it's a tough deal to come out here to new tracks and different things like that, I'm sure.
That it is, you know.
And, you know, another highlight on the year, of course, was setting fast time. We've talked about it before. I believe that was your second time in a 410 sprint car. I mean, that's a pretty big accomplishment, and I know you guys are pretty pumped up.
That really got us going. You know, we go back to our second time ever going into a sprint car, a 360. We went up to Placerville, and I didn't really know what I was doing. We out and we ended up setting fast time there. Second time ever in a car. And, you know, just going out there, just trying to be smooth, not overdrive the car. And I think that's a lot of it.
Right.
You know.
And then at the end of the year, have you guys really been able to sit down and kind of give yourself a grade for your first full-time 410 campaign?
You know, we did. We sat down, we talked about it. We actually had a meeting with our team, and you know, definitely an A. We met our goal, and we competed. You know, with all the races but one, and
right.
Definitely an A.
Right, that's good. And we talked about going to new tracks and stuff and the different challenges you face, but what is it like going to these new tracks with the 410 for the first time? It seems like a lot of the drivers say the more laps you get, the better you become. So did you see that this past year?
Definitely, you know, and that's what it's all about, is just getting that seat time. A lot of the tracks we had run, but in a 360, so there was that little bit of a learning curve,
right.
Adjusting, you know, the car from 360 to 410. And the only track that we hadn't run on before was Hanford, and well, the two times we went there was like night and day, you know. But I think the second time around we really got a handle on it, and then that was one of our bad luck nights.
That Hanford, yeah. So. Are you a guy that likes the bull rings or the big fast tracks, like a Hanford and a Tulare? I mean, what's kind of your preference? You
know, I love Tulare. It's so hard to get around that place. I mean, you really got to be on it.
Right, be up on that wall.
Exactly. And but I like the fast tracks, the real hooked up tracks. I don't know if they're easier to drive at, or the speeds are just that much more fun for me. Yeah, I'd say like Chico when it's really hooked up.
Perfect. We like that stuff too. Switching gears a little bit to your racing team, you guys seem to be one of the, I guess, the true family teams out there. So maybe share with us a little bit about who makes your team up, and talk a little bit about your team.
Well, it's a small crew. It's my father and I, my girlfriend, and two of our good friends that we've really got to know really well, and they've just become family friends at this point. And it's just the five of us. You guys seem like you're always having a good time, and that seems like that's what it's all about. If you're not having fun in this sport, you need to be doing something else. That's true. That's true. That's what it all comes down to. We're all out here to have fun, but and be competitive as well. Sure. Right. Right. Now, your family also was in the supermarket business. I know we talked about it in past shows. Compton markets, of course, in the Sacramento area. How did your family get involved in that? Well, my grandfather in 1957 started it. 57. And we were in business for 52 years, I believe. At one point, I think we had 8 stores around the Sacramento area. I have actually worked there for 6 years myself, and nice little business. It's a funny little personal story for myself. I used to go there with my grandparents back when I was a little kid, and I never put the correlation between yourself and Compton Markets until Kyle Larson's dad mentioned that your family was in it. So I thought that was a pretty cool little deal. I hear that quite often. I used to go there as a kid getting candy, or whatever. Right. So. Yeah. Now, did you follow sprint car race from an early age, and do you have any heroes when you were growing up? My dad and he used to take me, we started going maybe when I was about 10 or 12 years old, and he said, watch this guy. It ended up being Brent Keating. So now that we're racing and competing with them, it's pretty exciting, as a young kid going there and actually have a couple of die-cast models at Dad's house. And, but yeah, we always kind of look to him, and now that, like I said, now that we're racing with him, it's pretty exciting. Right. And he's helped us out too. He's given us a lot of advice on how to get around here, what to do as far as setup. So that's really nice of him. He's the guy that you traded with too during your envelope draw, didn't he, at the banquet? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, well, he's being quiet over there. He looked like he had something good. I was like, I'm gonna go snag that. Snagged it from him. No, but yeah, he's definitely a big ambassador for the sport, and he's big for us. He really is. Definitely. Now that you've finished your first 410 season, what kind of goals are you guys going to set for the upcoming 2013 campaign? Well, we want to try and run every single event. I know it's tough, but if we can do it, we're going to be there. And we want to really get inside that top 10 in points, beneath 10, 9th, 8th, 7th, or beyond. And we, maybe pick up a heat race win or two. That'd be nice to get another quick time. And the ultimate goal is to get that first feature win. Right. So that's good goals, and I think with that, it's time to go into tonight's hot seat presented by Hoosier Racing Tires. The first question on tonight's Hoosier Hot Seat, Chad, is what is your favorite restaurant to stop at to or from the racetrack? Hands down, the Black Bear Diner.
The Black Bear, that's one of ours too.
Or In-N-Out. 'Cause it's open, well, it's open late.
That's true. That's for my family, Black Bear or In-N-Out as well. So
Love that
that's
place.
pretty good places. If you could race any type of race car other than a sprint car, what would it be?
I'd say a midget.
A midget. Okay, we got our little chili bowl midget back here. Those seem like a fun car to race.
Fast, nimble, handful. Perfect. They just seem really exciting.
Perfect. What is your dream job?
Shoot, professional race car driver.
Perfect.
Right?
That's correct. That's a good answer.
That or become a CHP officer, which
Okay.
they're gonna be hiring soon. And I'll be filling out an application to see what leads.
That'd be good.
So.
Final question on tonight's hot seat is, what is the origin behind the 69C on your sprint car?
Well, a lot of numbers were taken when we were trying to get a number. I wanted 2, 22, I wanted 9, I wanted 6, and ended up 69. And when we hopped into a sprint car, we had to put a letter behind it.
Okay,
So,
okay.
69C, and we just stuck with it since.
Cool. There's no origin of Brent Kading or anything? Since
No, not really.
Just kind of
Like I
something you
said,
like?
my first number I really wanted was 2, and that was taken.
Okay,
And then I
okay.
wanted 22, and so on. So.
Cool. Well, that was tonight's hot seat presented by Hoosier Tires. And with that, Chad, we'd like to give you a chance now to thank all your partners and family members and anyone that makes the racing possible for the 69C team.
Well, I really got to thank our crew. They stuck with us throughout the entire season, and as well as all our sponsors, Advanced Integrated Pest Management, Clover Stornett and Farms, Moresco, Palmer Signs. They did all the graphics on our car this year, and Compton's Markets. And I really got a big thank you to my father. He does so much for this team, and I really got to thank him.
Cool. Well, hey, it's been an absolute joy having you guys on tour. We love having you and your dad and your whole family with us, and we definitely want to thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank
you
you
for competing with the King of the West Series last season, and we're looking forward to next year.
Same with us. We're looking forward to it.
Right. We'll be right back with much more on King of the West tonight.
Welcome back to KWS Tonight. And Gary, great interview with Chad Compton.
Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know Chad and his dad Michael, and just a great family-run team.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys, kind of a surprise addition last year to the King of the West Series, and what's really cool is he said that the last year was the most fun he's ever had in racing.
Yeah, and I think he's looking forward to the expanded schedule. I know they're out looking for another motor. They are really getting into running the full schedule next year.
Yeah, and he had a lot of bad luck during the season with some motor problems. So I know those guys are really trying to step up their motor program, and that's something key next year, of course, with the expanded schedule, trying to keep things fresh and everything. But they're really excited about it, and I think it's that time of the show to announce our first 3 dates of the 2013 season.
We start a little bit later this year because the Outlaws are staying out
a little
here
more
a little
expanded
later,
schedule for the Outlaws as well.
But we're kicking it off at Antioch, as we always
Right
do.
down the
first
road,
race of
yep.
the year. That's on April 20th, the first race.
Mark that on your calendars. Antioch Speedway, April 20th. That track has become, I think we've called last year the action track of the West. The place is always awesome. It's exciting. There's crashes. There's pretty much everything that somebody would like to race.
And it's always been a full house.
And
So we
always
got
a
to
full
get there
house,
early,
yep.
as we tell you. So start planning now for
Right.
Antioch on April 20th, and then we follow up at Placerville.
Another place that always features a packed house. Great race fans, some of the best fans in all the Western United States. Placerville Speedway, always action-packed. Love going there.
April 27th.
Mark it down.
And then our third race is the Dave Bradway Memorial, and it's the familiar May 4th date.
Yep.
So
One time only in 2013, King of the West at Chico. Put that on your calendar, the Dave Bradway Jr. Memorial. Dave and Diane DeRico always go all out. They do a lot of hard work, put in a lot of effort to make the Bradway what it is, and we're really excited for it next year.
did you say just one time only this year?
One time only. Mark it on your calendar. King of the West. That's the night to go to Silver Dollar Speedway in 2013.
We have an expanded schedule that you're going to see tomorrow on the website, and you'll see why. We've got just some limited races at some of the California tracks, and you need to do some planning this year to see all the King of the West races.
Going to be very exciting for 410 sprint car racing all around the Western United States.
I think we've come up with a very comprehensive and an interesting schedule for this year with a lot of new changes and twists that I think people have been asking for a couple of these things, like a lot of races in a row.
Right. It's more two-day shows.
And more two-day shows, and it's a new racetrack that we haven't been to before, so I'm looking forward to it. And again, that'll be up on the website tomorrow afternoon.
Definitely check it out, and I think that brings it to the end of our show tonight. We definitely want to thank Randy Lewis for calling in.
Yep.
Of course, the world's #1 track chaser. Also want to thank Chad Compton for making the haul down here to Rio Vista and joining us in studio.
We want to make sure to tell you to check the website, because all the happenings and what's going to happen next year, we're going to be right there on the website, kwssprints.com.
Good night, everyone. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll catch you in 2013. You had the chance earlier today to talk to the world's #1 track chaser, Randy Freeman out of San Clemente. Now, I think San Clemente is a little warmer.
But Randy
than it is
Freeman's
now.
not his name.
Randy Freeman.
As a special Christmas guest present,
As a special, and
let's go to that Randy Freeman interview.
let's go to that. Ready, and go.
Let's go to that Randy Lewis.
Ready?
Let me catch my composure.
Hey, let's go inside and catch that Randy Lewis interview.
Perfect.
Ready, and go.
Hey, George, let's go.
Oh my God.
My voice.
I think that might be a blooper segment here.
All right, ready, and
Take
go.
6.
It's him. Take 6.
Next up, we're going to go back into a... Let me end that better.
Okay.
There's one of those outtakes.
That'll be an outtake.